Donald Trump has laid out a 20-point peace plan to achieve the end of the war in Gaza after a meeting with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The US president claims he is beyond close to ending the war and securing the release of all the hostages. If both parties agree to the proposal, he says the war will end immediately. Within 72 hours, all hostages, living and deceased, must be released by Hamas. In return, Israel will release 250 prisoners currently being held on life sentences, as well as 1,700 Gazans detained after October 7. Donald Trump claims this will not only end the war, but could bring peace to the entire Middle East.
It's a historic day for peace, and Prime Minister Netanyahu and I have just concluded an important meeting on many vital issues, including Iran, trade, the expansion of the Abraham Accords, and most importantly, we discussed how to end the war in Gaza, but it's just a part of the bigger picture, which is peace in the Middle East, and let's call it eternal peace in the Middle East.
At that joint press conference, Benjamin Netanyahu agreed to the proposal. Hamas is yet to respond, but Donald Trump says he is hopeful he will get a positive response.
If Hamas rejects the deal, which is always possible, they're the only one left. Everyone else has accepted it. But I have a feeling that we're going to have a positive answer. But if not, as you know, Bibi, you'd have our full backing to do what you would have to do.
During the announcement, the American leader also took aim at countries such as Australia, who recognised a Palestinian state before peace was achieved.
Several countries have foolishly recognized the Palestinian state. As you know, some of our European friends, allies, good people, but they're really, I think, doing that because they're very tired of what's going on for so many decades. They've been presidents and prime ministers for years, and during this time, having to do with the Middle East, all they're doing is talking about the same thing over and over. They want to see it get back. And nobody wants that more than me, or I believe Bibi too.
And in further complications for the Australian government, both Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu claimed there would be no role for the Palestinian Authority in governing Gaza. Instead, it is to be run by a technocratic group of Palestinians and other leaders, including former British Prime Minister Tony Blair.
Hamas will be disarmed. Gaza will be demilitarized. Israel will retain security responsibility, including a security perimeter for the foreseeable future. And lastly, Gaza will have a peaceful civilian administration that is run neither by Hamas nor by the Palestinian Authority.
While Benjamin Netanyahu agreed to the deal, he said if Hamas tries to change it in any way, Israel will finish the job itself.
But if Hamas rejects your plan, Mr. President, or if they supposedly accept it and then basically do everything to counter it, then Israel will finish the job by itself. This can be done the easy way, or it can be done the hard way, but it will be done.
Mark Stone has the latest from the White House.
The key part that is missing is Hamas. They've got to sign up to this in the short term, if any of it is to last beyond the next day. I think the most telling part of what we've just seen unfold over the course of the past hour is the fact that neither men took any questions, neither Trump nor Netanyahu, both of whom absolutely love a press conference. They love to hold the room, to bat away all sorts of different questions. They didn't. Why? Because this plan is very much incomplete. It is incomplete until the point at which Hamas, like it or not, agree to it. Now, it may well be the case that they believe that the White House administration and the Israelis and the wider Gulf Arab countries believe that Hamas is now in a position where it is so weak that it has to agree to this. That may well be the case, but let's see. They have not agreed to it just yet. And on that, some quite chilling language from the American president, where he basically repeated what he said before, which is that if Hamas doesn't agree to this, well then, Bibi, you can go ahead and do what you need to do. A couple of other fascinating points, I think. I mean, you say that the whole Gaza Riviera thing is not there. It's not in the sense that Palestinians are not being told they have to leave the Gaza Strip, but there is a very interesting point there, where it's point 10, where it says many thoughtful investment proposals and exciting development ideas have been crafted by well-meaning international groups and will be considered to synthesize the security and governance frameworks to attract and facilitate these investments that can create jobs, opportunity, and the hope for the future. For future Gaza. Now, if you are looking at this in a positive way, if you're an optimist, then you see that as wholly positive for Palestinians to redevelop their land. If you're a cynic, then you will see this as quite the opposite, as an opportunity for Western investment into the Gaza Strip. Who knows what role Palestinians would have down the line? And remember, for now, there is not one single Palestinian figure named in this document. In fact, only two individuals are named in this document by name. One is Donald Trump, who would effectively chair and head, with other members and heads of state to be announced, the Board of Peace, effectively the kind of kingmaker over the Gaza Strip. And the other person whose name is mentioned is former Prime Minister Tony Blair. Now, his name, as you and I were discussing in New York last week, has been mentioned for so long. We know he's had a key role behind the scenes in terms of what he believes he can do in Gaza. We'll have a listen to this. I spoke last month, or earlier this month, in fact, to a senior advisor to the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. And I said to him earlier this month, what do you make of these Blair rumours? And I've asked him again today, and he stands by the following quote. He says, Palestinians in general don't see Mr. Blair as anything else than a war criminal and a mercenary, and do not expect anything positive to come from his involvement in a region he has already damaged. The legacy of Iraq and Tony Blair hangs heavy over the Middle East. Now, it may be the case that other Gulf Arab countries have come to a position where they think, well, do you know what? In the absence of anything else, maybe Tony Blair is the answer. But you know, take it in black and white from a Palestinian in the heart of Ramallah, very close to what the Palestinian street thinking is. They do not like the idea of Tony Blair being involved one bit.
And just further to this breaking news, Hamas says it has not received the Gaza peace plan announced by US President Donald Trump. The militant groups say it is yet to receive a written confirmation of it. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has spoken with Qatari Prime Minister and apologised for Israel's strike on Doha. US President Donald Trump has commended the call.
We had a great talk, and I was on the phone, and Bibi was talking. Prime Minister Al-Thani was of Qatar. They really had a heart-to-heart conversation. It was a great conversation, I thought. It was productive. It was everything that you need to have something turn out to be successful.